What up, guys? I'm gonna be doing a real quick review on the film Wonder Woman, starring Gal Gadot, Chris Pine, um, directed by Patty Jenkins. Overall, my feeling, it's probably the best DC movie um, that's come out of the new universe. That's not like Christopher Nolan, um, and that is just like story structure has a beginning, middle, an end, and starting now probably spoilers, but I mean it does use the MacGuffin of like, oh, she's staying at a picture the whole time. So the movie starts with her getting a picture from Bruce Wayne, like the original picture that we just saw in Batman vs Superman. And then she kind of stares at it and it just goes right into it. And then it just kind of tells the story of her leaving her island, basically joining the war and becoming, the God Killer or Wonder Woman. Overall, it's probably the best one tonally just because they didn't put too much stuff in it. It was a straight up origin story. Wonder Woman was casted well. I think Gal Gadot made a good Wonder Woman. It was weird that in the island that everyone had to put on an accent just because that it. I mean, it played well. It just was kind of weird, but it had some of the best action scenes for as far as the summer goes. Specifically, the first set piece in the beach, like that, where just all the Amazonians coming out, and just like when you see her aunt jump three dudes and like get kill three guys with one bow strike was really neat, and they did it in plain daylight. There was no like the other movies. There was like saturation. There was a saturation that Man of Steel and Batman vs Superman and even Suicide Squad had that this movie, at least for parts of it, didn't have. And those parts felt like even the action just felt like not lighter, but it just looked different. It looked cool. And there was funny parts to it, and there's heartwarming parts, and there's parts where like it tears at you, at your heart when you see her aunt die, and she's broken up about it. It's There's more stuff going on than in all the previous films, and it's not as like they're not trying to fit all of Justice League and set all this other stuff up. It's just a basic Wonder Woman origin story, so that's neat. The Battle of No Man's Land, that set piece, um, one of the greatest set piece I think, if not the DC universe, maybe even the Nolan. Like of all the DC movies, that set piece of No Man's Land, basically the way they use World War I and trench warfare and seeing her come over this trench, pretty much just like taking off her coat, then you see her in her full warrior outfit going over the trench and just blocking bullets and giving courage to the rest of the men. Um, Besides it just being like a beautiful metaphor, it was just dope. It looked really cool. Then just it gets right to the fighting. She eventually breaks the line and gets into the little town and basically saves everyone. Mashes fucking tanks and basically just looks like a badass doing it, and she gets her confidence and just starts fucking wrecking shit up, and it looks cool, and that's what a Wonder Woman should, what it should be, and that's why I thought that was the coolest scene in the movie. The last action set piece, and again, I already said spoilers, versus Ares. It got back to some of the same fighting style and looks of the old DC movies of the Zack Snyder's, where it's just dark and there's a lot of like punching and flying and people getting knocked and flying out of the screen and quick pans and stuff. While this one, it was just more of like, I don't know, it was just like fluid, and like the music was dope, and like they kind of showed you the team, that she's not by herself. She's like, even though she's kind of taking care of the biggest brunt of the work, she's still surrounded by people who have her back, and people she's giving the strength to, you know, do more and be more, and they do it by seeing her do more and be more, and I don't know, and I think that's Wonder Woman for a lot of people, a symbol of strength and courage and just overall being a badass. But even when she took down that sniper and took down that church, um, I don't know, it was fucking amazing. It was like seeing Hulk smash through stuff. It was just a complete badass, and Gal Gadot's super charming, and Chris Pine's funny. The movie did lag though, like in the beginning. There's a lot of like training and setting up and minutia, and like kind of when it gets to like even on then they go to England and there's a book, but the book is all just like everything that they've set up with this book just goes to show that like, oh well, there's like this bomb or gas that suck that that could kill people. But I mean, that's all like set up for something. But like there's no real big payoff to the book. But you do like they show that like people don't take her serious, or because she's a woman, she gets not. People kind of look down at her or don't take her serious, and I don't know that stuff. It's like once it gets to the battle, to the front of the line, that's when the movie like eventually gets good. I know that there's a comparisons between this one and Captain America's First Avenger, and that's because they're both period pieces, war pieces. And Captain America had his Howling Commandos, and she had her own team. But Captain America was always just kind of in the front, just wrecking, and no one really like. There was not much. Like Bucky Barnes was there and stuff, but it's all kind of done in montage and stuff, and like the team is not as present. While this team, like it's not just Wonder Woman, her team, they're fleshed out characters. You learn about the guy that wants to be an actor, the sniper who can't shoot nobody because like PTSD, and he hasn't sang in a while, and Chris Pine, and how he's a spy, and how his this watch has been being passed down from generation to generation, and he gives it to her at the end. So her team, and then there's the chief who whose land was taken, and he's not part of a he's kind of a no man's land situation where he's just kind of roaming. And so her team has it's like way more fleshed out. You learn more about them, and they're with her all the way to the end. And that's something that Captain America's First Avenger didn't have. They kind of fleshed out her team. Her team matters to her and to the movie. Even though this is like a Wonder Woman origin story. So I mean, so the comparisons. If there was something like positive to say that if they have similarities in tones and stuff, this team is way more fleshed out. You care more about the command, like about her side characters, than what you do for the Howling Commandos, because they don't have much backstory, except that they were Captain America's team. So if you're gonna do those comparisons, but I guess that's tomato. But there's these shots that they're talking about, like Greek mythology and Zeus, and it all felt like 300, but like the style, it almost seemed like a work of like paintings just moving. It looked really smooth and really cool, and it reminded me a lot like what 300 looked like the first time you saw it when it came out in like '08 or whatever, but like updated and new, and it looked really cool. The fight between Zeus and Ares and the gods, it looked really cool. Like that, those sequences look really awesome. Once Ares gets into his suit and he's in the full regalia, it looks fucking dope. And then he burns the things on his mask, and it looks awesome for like a comic book fan to see it. It looks really cool. I mean, we know Justice League is coming up, and I was hoping like that they would tag it at the end once she kind of, because it's all like this whole movie takes place in her head. I mean, it already had happened, so she's just kind of having a flashback towards it. So I was hoping when she snapped back into like the present, and she like puts her photo away, it would have some sort of tag and some sort of setup. I mean, they've crammed so much setup for all the other movies that they would cram some setup now, like Justice League. So something to set something up, and nothing major, just something little. I mean, at least that's what you were hoping, but we didn't get that, and it's fine. I mean, it didn't hurt the movie at all, but like you're just kind of hoping like somewhere at the end, you know. But that it is what it is. Overall, though, it's a cool movie. It's entertaining. It's one of DC's best, and hopefully this sets up a nice run. You know, now it gives us more hope for the Justice League movies to come, and yeah, and hopefully they keep building for Wonder Woman. And I don't know how there wouldn't be a Wonder Woman 2. If they do, I mean, Hades or another cool villain. That would be cool that they set something up like that. But we'll see. Guys, thank you for watching. Hope you guys go watch Wonder Woman. Please subscribe. Please like. Check out our Patreon. Check out our other videos. And yeah, check you guys later.